Okay, I'd like to show you the gradient tool now, and I'm going to demonstrate that on an existing drawing, and it's a drawing of a can which I have, and rather than open it up new, I'm going to place it into the page. So File, Place, and a drawing of this type is known as a vector. So it's something that I found on the internet, and I'm going to place in the vector, and I'm going to make sure that that box there isn't ticked, because if it were ticked I might lose some of the qualities of the drawing, such as the layers. So it's not ticked, so we're fine. I'm going to place that into my drawing, into my page. Okay, so I'm just going to have a look at the layer window to see what's going on. So it's all in one layer, but it's grouped. So there are parts of the drawing that have all been grouped together into one layer, which is fine. It just means that instead of using my black arrow to select a part, I'm going to use my white direct selection tool, which will just select part of a layer instead of the whole thing. So I'm just going to move that back in place. So to colour that now, I can use my colour palette, or to colour any shape. So this is basically showing you the gradient tool, but for this I'm using a can. I can change it using the colours in the palette here, but I would like something a bit more realistic and a bit more 3D looking. Other colours are available in this palette here. If I double click, there's a whole choice of every colour you can imagine. But as I say, I'm going to go for something a bit more 3D, and for that I'm going to use a gradient. Now I only have a couple of preset gradients available, so I'm going to show you how to change those. The gradient that I have, if I click on it, will give me a rainbow for a linear one. So there's a black and white linear one, which only does black and white. I have a black and white radial one, which goes out from the middle. My rainbow, again, linear and radial, and some patterns as well. So if you needed to load any more patterns, fills, gradients, you can find those in the library at the bottom, but I'm absolutely fine just changing this one for now. So I select my linear gradient, and to change it, I'm going to click on the gradient tool on the right. So when I click on the gradient tool, I get all these little paint buckets here that represent all the colours in my selected item. So to change these, I can remove some of the colours by dragging them off. So if I click and drag, it will disappear. So I don't want any purple, I don't want any blue, no green. I'm just going to leave it with these sunburst colours in. So now I can slide these paint buckets up and down. The distance they are away controls how harsh the colour change is. So if I move them really close together, you'll see there that's quite a harsh colour change. So they're all close together. But if I spread them out, it gets much more subtle. So to add in another colour, I can click on the slider, and that just puts in another paint bucket. So it's click and drag to get rid, and it's click to add one in. To change the colour, I need to double click on the paint bucket, and it will open up my colour palette that I can select a colour from. I'll go with that one. And the diamonds at the top, so however close the colours are together is how harsh they are, but the diamonds at the top will just shift the colour one way or the other. So I can put more orange that way, or I can put more red towards the middle, and so on. Right, now some extra options for the gradient tool. If you click on this little button here, it will say show options, and then from there I can change the angle of my linear gradient. So linear means just in a straight line, no matter what angle that may be. So if I put it at 45 and press enter, it sort of looks like the light source has changed, or you might have on your design colours across the top and the bottom. So if I change that angle to 90, okay, and if I want to change the direction of the gradient. I can go from linear to radial, depending on what you're trying to achieve, but if you click radial, that will then go out from the middle. Okay, so have a play with it. The big things to remember: to change the order of the colours, you slide them over each other. To get rid of the colours, you click and drag off the window. And to change the colours, you double click and then select from your colour palette. Once you've got something that you're happy with, you can then start to layer on your decoration. Off you go.